You keep telling yourself you'll do it later. The email, the assignment, the phone call, the one small task that somehow feels heavier every single day. And the strange part is, you're not relaxed while avoiding it. You think about it constantly. It follows you into the shower, into bed, into random quiet moments. Visual, person staring at unopened laptop in dark room. Most people call this laziness. But laziness feels emotionally neutral. This feels different. This feels like your brain is quietly pulling the emergency brake every time you try to move forward. And usually, the task itself isn't the real problem. Sometimes the email takes 2 minutes. Sometimes the room only needs 10 minutes to clean. But your nervous system reacts as if the task carries danger far bigger than its actual size. Why? Because the brain is not just built for productivity. It's built for protection. Visual, abstract brain animation. In neuroscience, the brain constantly scans for emotional threat. Not just physical danger. Emotional danger too. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of disappointing people. Fear of confirming something painful about yourself. So over time, the brain emotionally tags certain tasks with stress. The task stops feeling neutral. It becomes symbolic. A simple message becomes, "What if they're upset with me?" A project becomes, "What if I fail publicly?" And suddenly, your body reacts before logic even has time to speak. Visual, hand slowly reaching toward closed door. That's why emotionally overwhelmed people often freeze around simple things. Not because they don't care. Usually because they care too much. Behavioral psychology calls this the avoidance cycle. When avoiding a task reduces anxiety temporarily, the brain learns. Avoiding this keeps us safe. So the pattern repeats. You avoid the task. Anxiety drops for a moment. The brain rewards the escape. Even though the stress always comes back later. Visual, clock moving while person stays still. And eventually, this starts affecting identity. You stop saying, "I'm struggling right now." You start saying, "I'm lazy. I ruin everything. I can never stay consistent." But many emotionally cornered people are not unmotivated. They're overloaded. Their nervous system is carrying unresolved emotional pressure in the background all day. Like too many tabs open on a computer. Even small actions begin feeling mentally expensive. Visual, computer tabs multiplying rapidly. And this pattern usually starts earlier than people realize. Maybe mistakes were heavily criticized growing up. Maybe achievement became connected to love or approval. Maybe failure felt emotionally unsafe. So your brain learned something dangerous. Performance equals worth. And once that happens, tasks stop being just tasks. They become emotional tests. That's why your body freezes before starting. Not because you're weak. Because your nervous system thinks movement might lead to emotional pain. Visual, small figure carrying heavy invisible weight. The important thing is this. You are not broken. Your brain adapted to pressure by becoming protective. The problem is that the protection no longer helps you. It traps you. So how do you slowly get out of this pattern? Not through self-hatred. Not through forcing motivation. The nervous system changes through safety and repetition. First, reduce the emotional size of the task. Instead of saying, "I need to fix my whole life," say, "I only need to open the document." That sounds small, but psychologically, it matters. Because the brain handles manageable uncertainty better than overwhelming pressure. Visual, notebook with one sentence written. Second, stop attaching your worth to the outcome. Research in behavioral psychology shows people act more consistently when mistakes stop feeling like identity threats. So instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What emotion is this task connected to?" That question creates awareness instead of shame. Maybe the task represents rejection. Maybe embarrassment. Maybe fear of being seen. Understanding the emotion weakens its control. Visual, waves moving slowly. Third, create movement before motivation. Most people wait to feel ready, but neuroscience shows action often creates motivation afterward, not before. So make the action ridiculously small. Write one sentence. Wash one plate. Reply with one line. Tiny movement teaches the brain something important. Action is survivable. And slowly, the freeze begins loosening. Visual. First domino slowly falling. Eventually, you realize something surprising. You were never fighting laziness. You were fighting invisible emotional pressure your nervous system never fully explained to you. And avoidance was never proof that you didn't care. Sometimes, it was proof that you cared so deeply your brain became afraid to fail. Visual. Door slowly opening into soft light. Maybe healing is not becoming perfectly disciplined. Maybe it's learning that your worth does not disappear every time you struggle to move. And maybe freedom begins the moment you stop treating yourself like a broken machine and start understanding yourself like a human nervous system trying very hard to feel safe.